There comes a point where you know something in your life has to change, but you have no idea where to start. You wake up one day and realize you're tired of feeling lonely, tired of overthinking everything, tired of being stuck in the same habits and calling it who you are. People always say, just put yourself out there, just meet new people, just try harder. But they never tell you how to do that when you feel disconnected from everyone, including yourself. And the hardest part is this: you want to change, you want to grow, you want to become someone you're proud of. But wanting change and knowing how to make it happen are two completely different things. The truth is, change doesn't happen just because you want it. Even if it did, you would have already become the person you're trying so hard to be. Change is hard because you're fighting against years of habits, fears, and beliefs that were built long before you realized they were holding you back. Maybe you grew up being told to be quiet. Maybe you got used to shrinking yourself so you wouldn't bother anyone. Maybe you learned early on that it was safer to stay invisible than to risk being seen and misunderstood. And now when you try to change, it feels like you're trying to climb out of a version of yourself that has been here for years. It feels overwhelming, it feels confusing, it feels lonely, because no one sees the battle you're fighting. They don't see the nights you tell yourself tomorrow will be different. They don't hear the promises you make or the quiet disappointment you feel when nothing actually changes. People think doing nothing means you don't care, but sometimes doing nothing just means you don't know where to begin. There's a kind of tiredness that doesn't come from lack of sleep, but from trying over and over and still feeling like nothing is different. You push yourself to speak more, to join in, to be social, to take chances, and yet somehow you end the day feeling exactly the same as before. It's frustrating, it's discouraging, it makes you question whether change is even possible for you. Because nobody talks about how exhausting it is to force yourself into situations that scare you. Nobody talks about how draining it is to show up when you already feel behind everyone else. Nobody talks about how hard it is to fight the version of you that keeps pulling you back. You start thinking, why am I not getting better? Why does this feel impossible? Why do I still feel like the same person? And that's when the exhaustion hits hardest, not in your body, but in your mind. It's the exhaustion of trying to convince yourself that you deserve a life you haven't felt yet. And when progress is slow or invisible, it's easy to feel like you're falling. But you're not falling, you're learning, and learning is slow. One thing I'm starting to understand is this: change isn't supposed to be fast. It isn't supposed to happen all at once. It isn't supposed to be obvious every single day. Most of the time, progress is quiet. It looks like choosing to show up even when you feel awkward. It looks like trying to speak once in a conversation when you used to stay silent. It looks like walking into a room you would have avoided last year. These moments don't feel big. They don't feel life-changing. They don't feel like enough, but they are enough. Because progress doesn't look like becoming a new person overnight. It looks like being slightly different than the version of you from yesterday. Slow progress is real progress because it is the kind that actually lasts. It's the kind that reshapes your habits, your fears, your beliefs, one tiny piece at a time. And the truth is, you're not the same person you were a year ago or even a month ago. You've already changed more than you realize. Just because you don't see it immediately doesn't mean it isn't happening. Sometimes growth is quiet, sometimes it's invisible, sometimes it's slow, but it's still growth. I want to be honest, I struggle with this. I still overthink every step I take. I still feel awkward walking into new spaces. I still get quiet around people I don't know. I still hesitate when I want to speak up. And sometimes, even when I try, I feel like I'm falling right back into the same patterns. But I'm learning that struggling doesn't mean I'm not growing. Struggling doesn't mean I'm failing. It just means I'm human. There are days where changing feels impossible, where it feels easier to stay the same, to stick to what's familiar, even if it hurts. But even on those days, I try to take one small step, even if it's messy, even if it's uncomfortable, even if no one else sees it. Because I want to become someone I can be proud of. Not perfect, not fearless, just someone who keeps trying even when they're scared. Maybe I don't know exactly how to change right now, but I'm learning, slowly, quietly, one small moment at a time. The truth is, none of us really know what we're doing. We're all just trying to figure out how to become better versions of ourselves without losing who we are. And maybe that's the point. Maybe we were never meant to grow alone. If you're trying to change right now, even if it feels slow, even if it feels invisible, even if it feels like nothing is working, I want you to know you're not the only one. I'm learning too. I'm struggling too. I'm trying to take small steps, even when they don't seem like much. We don't have everything figured out yet, but we're getting there. Not perfectly, not quickly, but together. And maybe one day we'll look back and realize that every slow step forward was still a step towards the person we always wanted to become.